Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Gabriella. Today I will be trying out a very cheap oil pastel set that's originally meant for children. It's been a while since I used one of these. If by any chance you've been following me since the very beginning, you'll know that I actually started this channel with kids oil pastels. My first couple of videos were all done in that. I used to really enjoy to use kids pastels like these, and what attracted my attention to purchase this one is the fact that it's manufactured here in Hungary, in fact about 20 minutes away from my home. I don't think I have ever used an art supply that was so local to me, so that in itself is interesting. First, I will be swatching them out on sketch paper to see how they perform, and then I will attempt to create some art with it. Budget oil pastels like this one normally have lower pigmentation as well as lower opacity than artist grade pastels, and they don't blend too well. However, like with any cheap supplies, if you work within the limitations of the product, you can still achieve pretty nice artworks with them. I personally am all for playing with cheap supplies, especially when you are just starting out with a new medium. I wish I could get all my money back that I spent on expensive acrylics, only to find out that I didn't like acrylics at all. It's frustrating to spend a lot of money on something and then end up not enjoying it. Not to mention the fear of using expensive supplies when you don't feel confident in something, but that's a whole different subject and I'm not gonna go there now. But back to the topic. Oil pastels are a great medium for a lot of reasons. One of them being they are affordable, or better say, there are some expensive brands out there, and they are expensive for a reason. But there's a ton of really affordable sets you can get at stationery stores, not even professional art stores, and they are more than sufficient to practice with. Now, this particular set isn't student grade. It's for small children, and slightly lower quality than what you would normally expect from a decent student grade set. But if this is all you can get, you can still draw nice pictures with it for practice, and I will show you how. First, I'm drawing the outlines using light shades that can be easily drawn over later on. I'm sketching a carnation bouquet for Korean Parents' Day and Teachers' Day that I really have a lot of respect for. I am not Korean, but most of the artists that I follow on social media are, and I do this every year to kind of celebrate with them and also to show respect. I start shading with midtones, the midtone of the dominant color in that area. This set doesn't have color names, so I'll just go with what seems to be closest. I'm using a cool red now that will be mixed with both dark colors to create shades, as well as light pinks and white to lighten it up. Try not to lay down too much color initially, as we'll be applying several layers. If you make the initial layer too thick, you won't be able to add any more layers, especially with a cheap set like this. Now I'm going in with a darker red to make certain parts darker, and I'm mixing the two colors together in the process. Artist grade pastels you can easily smear with your fingers and blend them together that way. That wouldn't work with these crayons, but it's not a problem. I can work around it. Now I'm going in with some pinks to lighten up the edges of the petals. Once that's done, we're practically finished with the basic shapes of the flowers. When you first try oil pastels or any sort of crayons, draw something simple. Don't start with a full-on landscape with intricate blendings and a million tiny details. Honestly, I would just start by drawing flowers and fruits, very simple shapes, and a limited color palette. What I like about oil pastels is that not only is it an affordable medium, but it's also very satisfying even as a beginner. If you tried watercolor or gouache before, you'll know how tough it can be in the beginning, especially when you just jump into it without any sort of training or information as to how to actually do it. It's good to watch tutorials. They're going to help you in many ways, but if that's not an option for you for some reason, you can just experiment on your own without worrying about wasting expensive supplies. When I started oil pastels, I hadn't watched any tutorials. I had no idea what I was doing. I pretty much started out on my own. I drew some very simple things. I drew birds, very simple flowers like tulips. Of course, my first sketches weren't great, but it was satisfying and I really enjoyed it. Then within a couple of months, I got really hooked on YouTube and I binge watched a zillion videos. This is my favorite channel from that time. It's a Korean lady living in Australia and she used to upload a lot of very simple beginner level oil pastel tutorials. Unfortunately, she stopped uploading, but her videos are still available. Yo Art, if you ever watch this, please come back. I really miss your videos. Another thing about cheap sets is that they never seem to have realistic looking greens. All of their greens are always very artificial looking, almost fluorescent. Of course, it's not going to be very handy unless that's the look that you go for. But it really is a blessing in disguise because you'll have to get creative with complementary colors. To tone down the fluorescence of the greens and also to establish unity in terms of color palette, I will mix in some of the dark red into the green, as well as a little bit of yellow, and in the very end, I will darken it up with dark blue that I think is meant to be Prussian blue. And finally, the finished drawing. I feel like I really pushed these crayons to their limits and honestly, I'm quite happy with the result. If you enjoyed today's video, please give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, and subscribe to my channel for more. See you in the next one. Take care. Bye!